Hello, I'm Lisa and welcome to Namaste Today, More Mindful Living. Today I want to share a bit of yoga with you, which I feel like is the most important thing that we do when we're practicing yoga. So when I'm teaching my students yoga, we really start with the breath. We begin with every class with some breath work. So today I just want to give you a few thoughts about breathing and teach you the breathing that you would use as you are practicing yoga. Many times when I am teaching breathing, the students are not yoga students. I have been out in the community and spoken to groups such as cancer survivors, folks with sleeping disorders like sleep apnea, and even for stress management. So the tools that I will be teaching you today with yoga, you can use them in your practice on the mat, but you may also use them if you need to relax. It's wonderful before sleep, and you don't even have to stop what you're doing just to bring a sense of calm to your mind and to your emotions. So I have here earplugs. These are just latex-free earplugs that you can pick up at any drugstore. And oftentimes when I'm in the community teaching, I will give each participant a set of earplugs. Now, if you haven't used these foam earplugs before, you just roll them in between your index finger and thumb, and they get very tiny. See how they squish up? That's the part that you place in your ear. And as you might be able to tell, it is expanding. As it expands in your ear, it just fills up that ear canal and blocks out the sound, which is what earplugs do, right? Well, what I've discovered as you are doing that and blocking the outer sounds, it really intensifies your inner sound. And so if you've never heard your breath before, I encourage you just to pick up a pair of earplugs and give it a try. It really allows you to hear your breathing in a different way and just allows you to get a sense of calm that awareness of breath can bring to the mind and to the body. So after you've experienced hearing the sound of your breath, then the next thing that I'd like to teach you is diaphragmatic breathing. So it is, as it sounds, it is using the diaphragm. And all we're doing is using our lungs' complete capacity for breath. We will be engaging some core muscles to help remove residual air from the lungs, and that allows us to breathe fresh oxygen in more deeply. So there's actually more room in your lungs when you remove the toxins that are expelled through the breath. Then you've made more room to bring in that which the body needs, that it will nourish the lungs, and the lungs pass it along to the bloodstream, which is oxygen. So we start the diaphragmatic breathing on the exhale, and then we inhale more deeply. Now, oftentimes with my students, I have them place one hand over the navel, so just take your hand and place that over your navel and place the other hand just resting over the chest. So if you let your index finger and thumb just rest against your collarbone. I like to think of the hands here as just being a witness to the breath. And it's very helpful if we close our eyes. When you close your eyes, then you just block off everything that you see and can tune your awareness into what you feel. And so we begin on the exhale breath. So as you exhale through the nose with closed lips, at the bottom of the exhalation, you begin to squeeze your navel back towards your spine. Now, when you tighten your navel to your spine, you feel your belly just sinking away from the hand that's resting on top of it. And then not only are we going to squeeze navel to spine, but we're going to squeeze inward on the intercostal muscles. Now those are the muscles that are located between the ribs and your rib cage. So you tighten navel to spine and squeeze inward on the intercostal muscles at the rib cage. And then we also tighten in the pelvic floor, the sphincter and the perineum. Now as you tighten in the pelvic floor, those muscles are actually pulling up into your body. We're going to hold the tightness of those muscles without any air, and then we relax the muscles. Now you've removed the residual air from your lungs, so you can now inhale more deeply. So as you inhale through the nose with closed lips, pull the breath to the bottom of the lungs, and just imagine that you are bringing that breath between the bones of your hips. Now when you inhale deeply and your breath is coming to the bottom of the lungs, this is where your diaphragm, you're going to feel it pressing outward. Your belly rounds beneath that lower hand, almost like a party balloon being filled with air. And then as you continue to inhale, your rib cage is going to expand, and then this upper hand, you'll start to feel it lifting. And so you're just expanding the lungs completely until you can take in no more air. So when the lungs are full, then we hold the breath with the lungs full of air. So the cycle of breathing is this: exhaling through the nose, and at the bottom of the exhalation, tighten navel to spine, squeeze inward on the intercostal muscles, and tighten in the pelvic floor. Hold the tightness of these muscles without any air. Then release the tightness of all those muscles. Now breathe deeply to the bottom of the lungs and feel how the air is expanding the lungs as your lower hand presses forward and your upper hand slightly lifts as you take in the last sip of air. And that's the breath cycle. That is the complete breath, or the diaphragmatic breathing. So this diaphragmatic breathing is the breath that we use in our physical practice of yoga. The other thing that we like to do as we are practicing yoga is something called the Ujjayi breath. Now the Ujjayi breath translates to mean victorious breath, but it sounds like the ocean. So if you just picture being at the seashore and hearing that continual sound of the waves coming in and moving back out, that is what the Ujjayi breath sounds like. You may think it might sound a little bit like the gentle wind blowing through the tops of trees. And if you'll notice what these two things have in common, those are very relaxing sounds. And so the Ujjayi breath really relaxes and brings a sense of stillness to the mind. You can also, as you hear the breath, then you are better able to synchronize your movement with your breathing. And it really just captures your mind's awareness to hear the sound. Now, the way that the Ujjayi breath is achieved is to lift the relaxed tongue, place the tip of the relaxed tongue right behind the top teeth, and then you begin to just slide the tongue away from the top teeth and onto the skin, onto the palate of the mouth, and you will feel a little bit of a ridge of skin. We want to keep the tip of the tongue in that position. So as you've lifted up the tongue, what you've done is constricted the flow of air that's coming into the throat, and so it makes a sound. I'm going to get close to the camera now so you can actually hear the sound of the Ujjayi breath. So hopefully the camera will pick it up. So I've placed my tongue to the roof of the mouth, and I'm going to just inhale and exhale through the nose, and my lips are relaxed, but they do remain closed. And that is the Ujjayi breath, or Ujjayi breath. And it's just a wonderful, relaxing sound. So these two breaths, the diaphragmatic breathing and the Ujjayi breath, are the breaths that we use as we move in and through our yoga poses, as we are moving on our mat. And those are the things that I wanted to teach you today. So until the next time, I hope that you will be practicing both the diaphragmatic breathing and the Ujjayi breath. Until the next time, namaste. My soul honors your soul. Have a great day.